Here's the new data sources component that was recently deployed. We have the data sources for each customer. There's a couple of examples that I will show. So this one, for example, is a Carfax one that we can show that there's a successful one and an errored one. This one is actually not errored, it just needs to be removed, but I will remove that. Some of them for some customers are not fully populated yet and we have to do some changes, but an example of a very complicated one would be Cox Residential. And it lists all the data sources, and this is what I'm talking about. There's gaps, is that we haven't filled in the owners yet for each and every one of these data sources. So I'll be going through with Vince and team, adding those as they keep adding to the new onboarding. So this is what it looks like in general. To add a new data source, we would go in here, we would pick, and this will be filtered by customer. So we would go to Cox Residential, we'd pick a data source type, pick a file type. I'm going to do an aggregate report one, a vendor, DCM. Cox Residential has their own header mapper that is slightly different than the traditional header mapper. It would be in the aggregate reports. We'd go down and look for the Cox Residential folder, and these will also be filtered by each individual customer. And we'll say that's daily. Let's say it comes in at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's online. These are optional fields, the data summary, what we're measuring. This is typically for files that are not standard files that we get. So maybe dashboard data feeds or mappers or something that we're not used to getting. We need to know what the file is about. The columns are also optional. We won't need that column once everyone gets in the habit of mapping the headers. The filter row is if there are multiple file types going into the same bucket and the distinguishing factor is a keyword in the file name. So we would put in, let's just say there's 10 different types of files going in here and the key identifying factor would be aggregate. So we would have to type that in and then it would know to look in that bucket for the files that contain aggregate. We would assign it an internal contact. For this example, we'll just assign it to Scott. And we would create it. And then at the bottom, we will see our new job. And then tomorrow it will run and it will put our date here.